Ladies, I want to speak to you today, not to criticize you, not to shame you, and not to label you, but to help you. Because sometimes, without even realizing it, the behaviors we fall into, often out of stress, fear, or habit, can slowly damage our relationship, block intimacy, and leave us feeling misunderstood, alone, and exhausted. So today, we're going to look at 10 behaviors that quietly signal you may be showing up as a bad wife. Not because you're a bad person, but because something in your marriage needs healing, attention, or understanding. And before we dive in, let me say this clearly. This is about awareness, not blame. This is about empowerment, not shame. This is about helping you feel proud of how you show up in your marriage. If you're here, it already means you care. And caring is the first sign of a good partner. Before we go deeper, take a moment to hit the like button because it helps this message reach more women who need it. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? And of course, subscribe for more relationship wisdom. Now let's get into the truth. Many women believe that if their husband shuts down, avoids conversation, or becomes distant, it's because he is the problem. But the truth, based on years of working with couples, is this. When a good man changes his behavior, he is often reacting to how his wife is showing up. That doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means your behavior has impact. And the most hopeful part? When one partner changes, the entire relationship changes, especially when that partner is the emotional anchor of the house, you. So I'm going to show you 10 behaviors that may be hurting your marriage, followed by what a good man typically looks like when he feels emotionally safe, respected, and appreciated. These patterns are not fixed. They are not your identity. They are simply places where growth creates freedom. And with one shift at a time, your entire marriage can transform. I'm Dr. Jocelyn, and after 5 years working with women, couples, and relationships, I can tell you, good men show up beautifully when they feel emotionally safe. So let's walk through each behavior gently, honestly, and practically. As a doctor who works extensively in women's mental and emotional wellness, I see the same patterns come up over and over again. And most of the time, women aren't acting out of malice. They're acting out of fear, stress, a need for control, emotional exhaustion, or simply doing what they were taught growing up. So if any of these behaviors sound familiar, please remember, awareness is the doorway to change. Change is the doorway to connection. Connection is the heart of a healthy marriage. Let's begin our countdown. Number 1, you are controlling. Most women know, deep down, that they have a controlling streak. It comes from a natural desire for safety, structure, and predictability. But in a marriage, this can show up as micromanaging every detail, needing things done your way, melting down when plans change, monitoring your husband's actions. Biologically, control is rooted in anxiety. Emotionally, it creates tension. Practically, it makes your husband feel like he can't breathe. And here's the important part. Good men, by nature, are not controlling, they're flexible and easygoing. So if your husband seems controlling, but he's actually a good man at his core, he may just be mirroring the pressure he feels from you. When you loosen your grip, he often softens too. Number 2, you always need to be right. For many women, being wrong feels deeply uncomfortable, not just like a mistake, but like a reflection of personal inadequacy. That emotional wiring creates a powerful instinct. If I'm wrong, something is wrong with me. So instead of saying, I may have misunderstood, you may. Argue longer than necessary, defend your position fiercely, redirect blame, get emotional when challenged. But here's the surprising thing. Good men don't typically mind being wrong. They can admit mistakes with much less emotional turmoil. When a woman releases the need to always be right, the relationship becomes a space where both partners can breathe, apologize, and grow. Number 3, you wear the pants in the relationship. This shows up when your husband feels he needs permission for everything. It's so common that people joke about it in movies and TV. Let me ask my wife. But behind the humor is a serious dynamic. When a wife takes the final say on every decision, big or small, the husband eventually withdraws, stops initiating, loses confidence, gives up leadership entirely. A good man doesn't need to dominate. He doesn't need power. He simply wants partnership. But if you take every leadership role, he eventually steps back, not because he wants to, but because there's no room for him to step forward. Number 4, you avoid conflict and difficult conversations. Women often appear emotional, but emotionally expressive and emotionally accountable are not the same. Many women avoid conflict because facing it means facing themselves. Conflict avoidance can look like shutting down, changing the subject, crying to derail the conversation, becoming overwhelmed quickly. Why? Because conflict sometimes exposes behavior you don't want to examine. But good men, they are natural problem solvers. When you avoid hard conversations, he doesn't become passive because he's weak. He becomes passive because he fears your reaction. Change your tolerance for healthy conflict, and a good man becomes a partner in solving the issue. Number 5, you are moody, temperamental, or emotionally unpredictable. Every woman has emotional waves. It's part of biology. But unpredictable emotional shifts can deeply destabilize a relationship. Examples. He comes home unsure which version of you he'll meet. You're laughing one moment, silent the next. You get triggered without explaining why. Your emotional state dictates the entire household. Good men feel deeply more than they let on, but good men are steady, consistent, calm. They don't wear their emotions on their sleeves. They handle life as it comes. When a woman learns emotional regulation, the home feels safer, quieter, more connected, and her husband shows up even more consistently. Number 6, you are critical and judgmental. Women often think they're helping when they point out what's wrong, but criticism erodes a man faster than anything else. You may notice his flaws more than his efforts, his mistakes more than his intentions, his shortcomings more than his strengths. You may forget the 20 things he does right because you're hyper-focused on the one thing he didn't do. But here's what good men consistently do. They focus on the good. They notice the positive. They uplift, even when they feel hurt. When you shift from criticism to appreciation, a good man becomes even more generous, loving, and attentive. Number 7, you have double standards. This behavior often shows up subtly. You can break rules he must follow. You allow yourself habits you criticize in him. You expect understanding but don't offer the same. You justify your behavior but condemn his. A simple example. You going out with friends feels normal. Him going out with friends triggers a meltdown. That's a double standard. But good men? Good men are straightforward, honest, and consistent. They say what they mean and mean what they say. When you remove double standards, respect is restored on both sides. Number 8, you talk about your husband behind his back. Venting to girlfriends, family members, or even his relatives can feel harmless, but it quietly destroys the foundation of your marriage. Complaining becomes a way to validate your emotions, build a case against him, seek sympathy instead of solutions, avoid accountability. Good men, in contrast, tend to protect the privacy of the relationship. They don't air dirty laundry. They don't shame their wives publicly. When you stop talking about him negatively behind his back, trust begins to rebuild immediately. Number 9, you are not interested in sex or treat it like a chore. Sex is not just physical for a man, it is emotional connection, affirmation, and intimacy. Many women lose intimacy with age, stress, or resentment, so sex becomes a checklist item, a duty, something they give instead of share, something they disconnect during. Good men don't want to look elsewhere. They want their wife, the woman they love, the woman they married. When intimacy becomes mutual again, not perfect, not constant, just present, the marriage warms and reconnects quickly. Number 10, you undermine your husband in front of the children. This is one of the most damaging behaviors because it affects the marriage, the children, his sense of worth, the family dynamic. It may look like correcting him in front of the kids, calling him names when they're listening, encouraging them to take your side, using the kids as emotional leverage. Good men deeply believe that disagreements should happen privately. They want to teach the children respect, not just for him, but for you. When you stop undermining him, your entire home becomes more peaceful. Now that you know the 10 behaviors, here's the next step. 1. Pick one behavior to work on this week, not all 10. 1. 2. Observe it without judgment. Awareness is the catalyst for change. 3. Communicate with honesty, not emotion. Say, I'm working on this pattern because I want us to grow stronger. 4. Celebrate small wins. Every shift matters. 5. Notice how your husband responds. Good men respond quickly to emotional safety. Let me tell you something from the heart. You are not a bad wife. You are a human woman who may have learned habits that protect you emotionally, but harm your relationship unintentionally. These patterns don't make you unlovable. They don't make you broken. They simply mean you are ready for the next level of growth. and growth always begins with truth. Your husband, if he is a good man, is not your enemy. He is someone who wants peace, connection, and partnership with you. And when you shift even slightly, you will be amazed at how quickly he softens, supports, and re-engages with love. Ladies, age does not take away your power. Time does not take away your ability to grow, and mistakes do not define you. Your marriage can become warmer, calmer, safer, and more loving, not by becoming perfect, but by becoming aware. You have so much influence, so much strength, and so much potential for connection. Start with just one change, one behavior, one decision to show up with more compassion and less defense. Your relationship can transform, your family can stabilize, and you can feel proud of the woman you are becoming. If this message resonated, hit the like button to support the channel, comment below where you're watching from, and subscribe for more guidance from me, Dr. Jocelyn. Your marriage isn't finished. Your story isn't over. And you are capable of more love, more connection, and more peace than you realize. I believe in you, and I'm here for you.